Hello sa lahat. Good evening. Ako si P. Renada. Welcome to another episode of Campaign Convos. We have a very special episode for you tonight because dahil Holy Week this week, gusto namin sana mag-reflect tayong lahat kasi important ang Holy Week ngayon. It will be a week where we will also think about elections, sino ang iboboto natin. For candidates, it's also an important time to sit back and take stock of where they are in their campaigns and their candidacy. So we thought that we would make this episode about your questions. Anything you want to ask us, campaign reporters, isasagot namin or susubukan namin sagutin ngayon. So if you're wondering, I'm in the car because I am currently on the campaign trail myself. Kino-cover ko si Isko Moreno ngayon sa Pampanga. Ongoing ang kanyang event ngayon, but medyo na-late siya, so I have to do this kasabay. But anyway, before we continue with the rest of the episode, magpapakilala muna kami. To my right is, ayan, sige, magsimula na tayo.
Hi everyone, I'm Jairo Bulyedo. I cover the campaign of Calio de Guzman and Walden Bello. And on the side, I also help Mara cover VP Lenny.
Hi everyone, I'm Aika Ray and I cover Team Pacquiao Atienza.
Hello, ako si Rambo Talabo. Ang kino-cover ko ang presidential run ni Senator Panfilo Lacson at ang vice presidential run ni Senator Tito Soto.
Hello, I'm Bea Pupin. I cover Unit Team, specifically Sara Duterte's vice presidential run, but you'll also see me nakikisaw-saw sa campaigns ng ibang candidates from time to time. So
okay, so if you're wondering kung paano namin na-crowdsource yung mga tanong nyo, ginawa namin, nagpa-post kami ng crowdsourcing social media card sa aming Rappler social media platforms. And yung team ng Rappler, kinompile yung mga questions na are worth conversing about. Like obviously, hindi namin pinatulan yung mga troll questions na obviously parang attacks lang. But we really looked for questions na, parang okay tong pagmuni-munihin at baka tanong rin ng maraming mga tao who are watching the campaign. So, dinagay namin sa isang Google Doc yung mga questions yun na napili ng social media team namin. Some actually were DM directly to us. So, we will read the questions one by one and try to answer them to the best of our abilities. So, first question.
pero syempre yung unang tanong wala dito yung yung inadresan ng tanong. Since matagal na wala rin si Mara today, may special question daw siya. This is from Laurel Pop Balcarce. Medyo siya, no? Excellence in asking questions na si Laurel Pop. Kamusta naman po ang araw-araw na pag-cover kay VP Lenny na everyday ay di nauubusan ng ganap at news tungkol sa kanya? Sino sasagot nito? Si Jairo.
Sige, bilang assistant, team 2 ni Mara. Si VP Lenny, kasi siya, halos everyday, if you're gonna check her schedule for the whole week, parang everyday talaga, may schedule siya. For example, the past 2 days, last Tuesday, she was in La Union, and then, ng umaga, ng hapon, pumunta siyang Catanduanes, and then kanina, nandun siya sa Masbate. So, actually, organized kasi yung team ni VP Lenny, especially the media, the comms team. So, nagsasuggest sila ng nagpa-plot sila ng schedule ni VP Lenny. Tapos, nagsasuggest sila na parang dapat yung mga media organizations, yung mga news org, meron na ring mga team 1, team 2. Tapos kapag sobrang dikit-dikit nung schedule, parang hinahati nila yung reporters na magko-cover doon na sinasuggest nila parang, okay, reporters 1, batch 1, dito kayo sa La Union, dito kayo sa Catanduanes. Kasi sobrang dikit-dikit ng schedule ni VP Lenny. Parang sobrang impossible kasing puntahan lahat. So, kami sa Rappler, dahil sobrang kawawa naman si Mara, nagkakaroon na rin kami, may mga times na rin, tumutulong na rin ako sa campaign. Tapos, lalo na kapag everyday, nagsasalitan kami ng campaign. For example, last time, nasa Davao siya, tapos sa Tarlac ako, and then punta siyang Marinduque, magko-cover ako sa Quezon, something like that. So, alternating kasi sobrang daming ganap ni VP.
Okay, next question.
Okay, next question. Galing din to kay Laurel Pop actually. Ano yung napansin niyong pagbabago sa galaw or strategy ng mga candidates? Siguro simulan natin kay Pia.
Okay. Bagong sa galaw. Well, I would say na si Isko, very, very apparent yung kanyang strategy to target Marcos. Kasi if you remember sa initial time, yung initial days ng campaign, pa-safe pa siya parang ayaw niya masyadong magpangalan ng rival, etc. But as naging apparent na ang dominant ni Marcos sa surveys, yun na, doon niya nalalabas yung 203 billion. Some people forget na siya actually nagsimula nun kasi naging sobrang big issue na siya. But actually parang siya yung unang nag-bring up nun, tapos nag-snowball na lang. So, yun, naging apparent yun. And then, yung kanyang messaging na, siya yung parang enemy of elitista, decente politics. Naging, na rin yun, nag-evolve na rin yun to parang counter parang it's me versus the big political families personified by Robredo and Marcos. So, Fico, yun yung talagang nagbago. And, I guess, mas aggressive siya in hitting Marcos. Fico yun yung pinaka-biggest change in strategy.
Sa akin, si Calyodi, for Calyodi, same pa rin naman yung sweet image ni Calyodi. Kasi for the information of everyone, ganun talaga si Calyodi. Talagang mukha lang talaga siyang tatay na matangkad. Matangkad naman talaga siya. Pero sweet talaga siya in person. Like, very macho in a good way. Parang very tatay. So, nire-retain niya yung image niya na yun. Plus, yung unity message niya kasi na opposition sila, they acknowledge pa rin yun. In fact, she is the only, I think, presidential candidate who slammed yung criticisms and attacks against Aika Robredo. For VP Lenny naman, I think ang napansin kong trend dun sa change ng kanyang strategy ay lately, nagpo-focus siya doon sa extremes. Extremes in a sense na pupunta siyang Bicol, katulad ng ginawa niya the past days, and then pupunta siya doon sa bailiwick ng kalaban niya, which is Pangasinan and La Union. And at the same time, napansin ko din, na ginagamit, medyo nagkakaroon na rin siya ng counter-messaging about unity. So kahapon, nagsabi siya na parang ang unity daw ay hindi unity ng mga politicians, but unity and volunteerism among people. So yun yung changes so far.
Ano ba kasi unity?
I can, no. Sino magsasalita?
No, you go first. I can go last.
Okay. I think, lumalabas din kasi for the past few sorties yung hiwa-hiwala yung endorsement, di ba? Yung ang i-endorse lamang ay yung VP, yung president. For the case of Lacson Soto, palaging si Tito Soto lamang. At si Lacson hindi ina-endorse. So si Lacson, ang awkward nito kasi pumunta si Soto sa Cebu na siya lang. Tapos the next week, sumunod si Lacson. So parang sinusubukan nilang maipasa din kay Lacson yung support. And it's really not looking really good for Lacson at this point. Very active yung kanyang campaign. So there's that. The first one is yung nilaglag siya ng reforma. Then the next one is ang endorso lamang ay si Soto. Tapos yung mga unity talks, very active siya dyan. Nilalantad lang niya na ako ay kinakausap para makipag-unity, para umatras dito sa race na to. Una yung kay Lito Atienza na hindi daw sa atras. Pero that does not set the agenda for him. Very active. The next one, naglantad din siya na kinausap daw siya ng alleged member din ng party ni Lenny, group ni Lenny, pero hindi naman totoo. Pinapa-atras din siya. Lagi niya sinasabi yun. Tapos in the long term, very naman siya, consistent siya na ang kanyang kinakapitan talaga ay debate. Pero nakikita rin natin na kahit na ang tagal niya nagde-debate, kahit ginagalingan niya, hindi siya nagtra-translate sa ratings.
Yung kay Senator Pacquiao, same with kay Pia, yung attacks against Marcos Jr., yung talaga isa sa mga biggest shift na nakikita natin din sa strategy ni Senator Pacquiao. And mukha namang, in a way, nag-working for him because a lot of people actually, at least on social media, are seeing na parang mas matapang na daw si Senator Pacquiao. Kasi nung simula naman, hindi rin naman siya nagpapangalan ng Bongbong Marcos or the Marcos family, ganyan, sa mga statements niya. So, yun yung kay Senator Pacquiao.
Siyempre yung unit team, they have the advantage of being the leaders. I mean, sa start pa lang, di ba? Pero siyempre ngayon, survey frontrunner, I mean, they've always led survey. So, change, no, there hasn't really been any change at all. Like, yung stump speech ni Bongbong Marcos, yung stump speech ni Sara Duterte, it's more or less stayed the same. Parang may mga singit-singit lang, parang very, very minute detail na nag-expound sila ng konti to add to their platform or if you want to call it a platform. So just to illustrate the privilege of a survey frontrunner, they don't need to adjust kasi everyone else is trying to keep up with them. So sila steady lang habang yung ibang campaigns are tweaking their messaging, tweaking their delivery. Tapos gusto ko lang i-add dun kay VP Lenny. Parang to me, it's not so much a counter, but it's also an acknowledgement that the unity message does work. Kasi napag-alaman din nga natin na parang based on studies held last year pa, people are really, it resonates with them because people are tired of people of bangayan in politics. So kaya gumagana yung, and we see that parang sa speeches Jairo, di ba, nagsistart. And then yung ad featuring Piolo Pascual, parang dun talaga na, kumbaga, reclaiming the unity narrative. So,
Oo nga pala. Okay. Third and last question from Laurel Pop Balcarce. Ano yung napansin nyo sa candidate, sa rally at sa supporters simula nung unang araw ng campaign? May pagbabago at improvement ba or pareho lang? Well, I guess for me yung biggest impact of a rally na nakita natin yung kay VP Lenny talaga. Like if there's any
I think she's...
Did Pia stop moving?
Yeah, I
think so.
Internet problem.
Hirap signal.
Anyway, just to add to Pia's point lang with regarding VP Lenny's campaign, I think napansin ko, since naga naman talaga nung kanyang campaign rally noong February 8, nung start ng national campaign, yung kick-off, marami naman ang pumunta. Pero yung momentum kasi nakatulong sa kanya na in every province or town na puntahan niya, mammoth crowd talaga yung sumasalubong sa kanya, di ba? And recently, yung Pampanga, 220,000 yung pumunta. It's the largest so far na pink rally na pinuntahan niya or people's rally na inorganize niya. Tapos napansin ko din, yung changes dun sa mga taong pupunta sa kanya is that yung numbers continuously increasing and parang may competition talaga each time among areas, di ba? Parang tawag dito, instead na natatakot nga yung ibang supporters niya na baka hindi na matop yung tawag dito, yung Pasig Laban na may 150,000 na may 100 plus thousand attendees, pero eventually natatalo rin nung other campaign rallies. So yun yung so far yung changes with VP Lenny. Inject ko lang kay Caliodi. Si Caliodi nagre-retain yung kanyang messaging, yung kanyang house to house, saka compared to other candidates kasi syempre si Caliodi, wala kasi yan sobrang laking machinery and pera to para mag-organize ng mga malalaking events. So siya talaga yung pupunta sa mga areas na sinasalubong niya talaga kapag may pagkakataon yung kanyang mga supporters at umattend siya ng mga labor-related forums, pati mga student forums, sumasali din siya.
Okay. Pia wants to continue what she was saying kanina.
Yun na naman yung na parang the rallies are a big deal. But I think nasagot naman yun ni Jairo. Anyone else with...
Yung sa unit team, ito yung napansin ko. Kasi nga parang more or less unchanged sila, di ba? As the survey frontrunners, nangunguna sa race based on surveys. I noticed this especially when they started campaigning in Laguna, yung ako na-cover, na parang kung dati, very minimal lang yung focus on the artists, on entertainment. Parang starting Laguna and maybe 1 or 2 sorties before that, doon na sila nag-start magdala ng celebrity endorsers nila, celebrity performers, most notable being Andrew E., who sings the campaign jingle of Sara Duterte. Parang mababaw siya tignan, pero I think it's also a response to yung bashing or yung criticism on social media na parang ang sad naman tignan ng crowd nyo, parang hindi sila hyped up. Diba? Parang, so that's where you bring the entertainers to make people, to hype them up before the speech of the candidate actually begins or in between the speech to the candidate. So parang from then on, nakita ko yung dumadami na yung performers, nagiging, and it's funny to me because I remember before, people were criticizing the Robredo campaign na parang, ano ba yan? Puro singer, puro artista, parang concert. Tapos parang later, nakita mo rin all the other campaigns are actually like beefing up their entertainer lineup, parang emphasizing na, okay, ito kakampi namin, nasa campaign din namin. So yun yung interesting for me, na parang ayaw nyo dati, pero eventually bumigay din naman kayo.
Yung kay Isko pala, I forgot to say, yung isang nagbago sa campaign rally niya recently, he brought his family out for the first time. And yun, sobrang big deal yun. Kasi even sa lahat ng elections na sinalihan niya, like mayoral elections or in Manila, he never put his family in the public eye. As in, sobrang protect niya sa family niya. So when he had that big rally that drew 80,000 people in Manila, which is his bailiwick, of course, so parang show of force siya. Ang galing na parang, wow, 4 out of his 5 kids, yung isa daw kasi
medyo choppy si Kian.
homework pa kaya hindi nakapunta. Pero I mean, to see them there and wow, like
okay, I think just to add to what Pia was saying, no, parang yung interesting din yung slowly but surely bringing out their campaign assets in the form of either celebrity endorsers, entertainers, or their family members, right? Kasi parang I saw a comment on Twitter like for Kiko Pangilinan, Sharon Cuneta talaga is the number one endorser and one of the most effective, not even the proxy, di ba? Parang pinaka-effective na pang-hype, pang-bit-bit kay Senator Pangilinan sa campaign.
Saka Donnie. Saka si Donnie.
Donnie din. Wala natin kalimutan si Donnie Pangilinan. Bilang nasira ang Twitter nung lumabas siya.
About the celebrity talk, tutuhugin ko na rin ang aking very celebrity-oriented na VP candidate na si Tito Soto. We've talked about how may snowball talaga ng mga artista, di ba? You see the snowball of artists when it comes to Isko Moreno, to Bongbong Marcos, to Leni Robredo. Pero ito kay Tito Soto, very static. Palaging Itbulaga. Yun naman kasi talagang pinakasikat niyang kakilala eh. Pero walang growth when it comes to that. As in, mataas naman talaga. Top tier ang Itbulaga. Talagang every time they go out, napakaraming tao. Pero when it comes to the question na may growth ba, meron bang anything that spices it up, wala masyado. At ito naman kay Lacson, ito rin yung relationship of the candidate with the supporters kasi syempre parang it's a feedback loop din. Si Lacson, nagsalita siya the other day saying na yung mga supporters ko speak out, huwag kayong tahimik. Napapansin din kasi niya, I suspect, na yung mga supporters ng ibang candidates sobrang vocal. For example, VP Leni, Bongbong Marcos, talagang sila yung nag-aaway. Even Isko Moreno, ang sipag nila sa mga comment section, makikita mo. Even Pacquiao, yung mga comments, pero Ping Lacson, hindi masyado maingay. Social media, kahit sa rally, hindi sila ganun ka rah-rah-rah. Hindi ganun, wala ka makikita masyadong super creative posters for Ping as compared to others. So there is this, I'm not sure if it's a cry for help, but an urging of the candidate to the supporters to channel your energy. Pero paano mo yung magagawa, di ba? Kung wala kang this same gathering of artists, entertainers as others. There's Itbulaga, but Itbulaga can take you only as far.
Parang tone setting kasi siya, di ba? Na parang we're here to have fun. So, yung supporters mo rin, mag-have fun. Kahit na, I know people will say na, pumunta lang sila para sa artista, whatever. Pero, I don't think that's true for all of the rallies na pumunta lang sila para sa entertainer. Kasi ang hirap parang ewan ko sa mga nagko-comment dito, kung nakapunta na ba kayo ng political rally, hindi siya madali kung supporter ka lang. Kung wala kang VIP pass or whatever, yung tipong pipila ka ng ilang oras, ulan, araw, pero hindi ko gagawin yon kahit sa pinakapaborito kong banda. like if I go there, it has to be driven by something deeper because it's not a walk in the park. Anyway, sorry, nag-aside lang ako dun kasi may nag-comment na artista lang yung pinupunta.
Ayun. Yung kay Senator Pacquiao, actually, recent lang din yung entertainer, like literally nag-e-entertain. Kasi before, si Annabel Rama naman has always been there for him. Although nakita natin recently nga, di ba, si Rufo May Quinto, nandun na rin sa kanyang event sa Dumaguete. So yun, parang in-embrace niya na rin yun, even if before parang sinabi niya ayaw ko ng concert or ayaw niya mag-hold ng mga malalaking rally, but wala eh. I think yung last month talaga, yun yung yun yung isang sa change sa mga rallies niya na talagang nagkaroon siya ng parang grand rally kung saan tinatanggap siya, unlike before, na he's doing market visits or community visits, puro ganun.
I think next question. No? Yeah,
Ako
Next
na ba?
question.
Ay, okay. Ano
Next
ibig sabihin ni
question.
Julius Provido? Exempted ba daw tayo sa fact check? We wish. We don't wish.
Of course not.
What do you mean? I'm not sure what they mean, or ibig bang sabihin like
Hindi ba tayo
Exempted
pina-fact
kami
check?
sa-
Parang gano'n?
or exempted tayo sa pag-fact check ng mga sinasabi sa
Hindi.
sa event?
Oh, hindi kami exempted.
Hindi.
Actually, when
Tsaka-
a candidate says a lie, kailangan sabihin sa report, 'di ba? Or yung
Yeah.
context
Yeah.
nun.
Yeah. And that's where it comes in handy to be the embedded reporter. And that's, I think yun yung hindi siguro not everyone understands na when you go to a sortie, ideally hindi ka lang pupunta doon na tada, I'm here, I'm gonna cover you, and dito yung accreditation ID ko, ganyan, cover na kita kung sino kumanta, anong sinabi. Hindi, dapat pagdating mo doon, may bitbit ka ng knowledge, kumbaga. Bukod sa the usual things like yung voting record ng probinsya or ng city na yon, ay yung track record ng politician na yon in that area. Parang dala mo rin yung mga kahit hindi ka expert sa lahat ng major issues, at least may inkling ka sa mga nangyayari para kung may sinabi yung kandidato na kina-cover mo, is parang tama ba tong sinasabi niya? At least may bitbit ka ng fact check. If all else fails, edi mag-Google ka. Kaso yun nga, minsan walang signal sa rally eh. So, pray to God na lang na, Lord, bigyan mo ako ng info. How about
Doon
you
naman
guys?
kung iniisip niya kung tayo ba exempted sa fact-checking, I mean, kung pina-fact check din ba yung claims ng Rappler, oo naman, I mean, may mga media monitoring organizations like the CMFR, the Center for Media Freedom and Responsibility, nandiyan naman yung NJP, Philippine Press Institute, and other media guilds and organizations who, if they think para may mali kami sinabi, they can raise it up. Saka, within Rappler, chinecheck din may mga, meron kaming integrity to check each other if we think na parang, baka mali yung figures, baka mali yung ganito, yung context na ganyan. So, meron mga inputs within. So, hindi kami exempted per se sa fact-checking because fact-checkers kami. Tao din naman kami, and yung journalist, hindi naman yan foolproof. So, yeah, open naman kami sa ganun.
Kaya din kami may group chat. Kasi, kunwari, hindi ko naman memoryado yung progress ng mga batas. So, kung may mga ganong usapin, itatag ko si Rambo or si Mara na parang, ano bang status ng batas na to? Ganyan. Kung hindi ako satisfied sa Google search ko. So, we help each other out based on our beats and our expertise also.
Yun. Siguro dagdag ko lang dun, no? Hindi lang naman Rappler yung fact-checker eh. Yung ibang news organizations din naman nagpa-fact-check. So I guess, just have to put it out there. Yun. Okay, so may dagdag pa ba or next question?
Next question.
Okay, sige. Ito, from Jaira Rojas. Sino kaya to? Char. I really... Jaira
Wala.
Rojas.
Or person now.
I really want to know, anong nafe-feel ng reporters kapag merong heartwarming moment like Kiko and the Farmers or funny moment like Isko doing two joint sign or weird moment like Mokal suddenly going on stage. Nadidistract ba sila while reporting? How do they handle it? Siguro
Ako,
simulan natin.
nadidistract
Yeah.
ako. Nakaka-distract kasi syempre, well actually hindi naman siya distracting in the sense that yung mga pangyayari na yun, it's part of your job to report. It's more of parang, you have to parang contain your emotions enough to report on it. Yun talagang parang i-gather mo yung thoughts mo na, uy, nandyan siya sa stage. So paano ko ipapackage to? Paano ko siya ibabalita? Ano yung context? Parang kin-gather mo na yung facts dun sa head mo. So yun lang. It just takes a few seconds na to realize na, get your act together, we need to report this, and paano mo i-report. Pero yung sa 2 joints, at alam mo talagang, I can't help but matatawa ka talaga eh. Kasi parang, when you see an old lady doing 2 joints, di ba? Parang, ang cute eh. Parang, parang, gusto talaga niya gawin yung hand sign na yun. Baka hindi niya gets na yung connotation parang drug use, right? But, she's doing it kasi supporter siya or naaliw siya kay Isko for whatever reason, di ba? Parang may reasons naman siya for that. So, talagang we're human, so we also feel amusement. And normal naman yun eh. Actually, part of the joy of covering campaign trail yun eh. Kasi there are very human elements to it, right? Kasi in the end, you're talking about a person and someone wooing Filipinos, and people will naturally react to that person in very spontaneous ways. And yun nga yung the best moments to capture, yung mga spontaneous, yung hindi scripted, yun yung pinaka magagandang storya.
Ang ganda. I think nasagot ni Pia lahat ng gusto nating sabihin. Di ba?
Plus
Let's go to the
1.
next question. Ang kasunod ay, it would be awesome if the reporters could share some preconceived ideas or opinions that they had about the candidates they're following that were either disproved or reinforced as they followed him or her throughout the campaign trail. Mga impression, nagbago ba? Na-reinforce? Hirap nitong tanong, no? Kasi parang sinusubukan nilang, anong bias nyo? Baka gamitin laban sa atin. Pero hindi naman ganun eh. Magandang tanong. This is a really good question.
Siguro ako, I'll start. Yeah. Yung notion ng kay Senator Pacquiao, yung, di ba, yung mga tao usually would say na parang wala namang experience si Senator Pacquiao or alam lang niya boxing. Yung mga ganong naiisip tungkol sa kanya, na-break talaga yun lahat eh. Kasi of course, we reporters, aside from our personal, whatever yun man naiisip namin, pinapakinggan din namin yung sinasabi ng iba. So, yun talaga, actually, nakita naman natin sa mga, nakita ko sa mga rallies at sa mga debate na may bubuga si Senator Pacquiao at alam na kung anong sinasabi niya. And in some instances, actually, kapag nakakausap yung campaign team niya, sometimes they would say na, actually, idea niya yan eh. Hindi yan idea ng advisor or whatever. Siya lang talaga nag-isip niyan. Dahil nga, based dun sa experience niya, he knows actually what he wants to do. So, parang gano'n.
Sa akin, dagdag ko lang kay Leody. Akala ko kasi si Leody. Kasi I covered him in 2019. Pero, wala kaming hindi ganito kadalas ang coverage. Wala lang. Na-realize ko lang na may soft side siya, nakakatawa siya, tapos humorous siya sa person. Saka cool siya, medyo, millennial, Gen Z tatay siya, ganun. Kasi medyo bata pa yung mga tatay niya, tapos yung campaign din niya, mga millennials, Gen Z din. So, nakikinig siya. Kay VP Lenny naman, I think, ang na-break na preconception ko sa kanya, kasi hindi ko siya kilala personally before. I mean, until now din naman. Pero kakalo kasi talaga dati, since 2016 when she was elected as the vice president, parang prof na teacher na serious, ganyan, na parang, alam mo yun, mga bata, ganyan. Pero hindi pala, like, recently, di ba, nakikita natin yung cool side niya. Kanina nga, di ba, sabi niya parang, shut daw siya after elections, sumasayaw siya, at least 2 times na siyang sumasayaw sa Mindoro. Tapos kanina sumayaw siya ng panglaw, hindi ko alam yung tawag doon, pero like something traditional dance sa Masbate. So, lumalabas yung full side niya. Even hindi naman even other candidates naman, lumalabas yung full side nila as elections approach.
Alam mo si Isko, na-surprise ako dun sa pagka-nerdy niya on certain things. Like, kasi yung perception natin kay Isko, parang cool kid, yung kasi gwapo, so I guess we don't expect him to be much of an intellectual. I mean, diba, like, usually beauty lang, parang brains, wala. But, siya, nerd siya actually. Parang, grabe siya maghanap ng terms na parang like low Earth orbit satellite. Like, who thinks of that? And then, apparently, parang when I talk to his advisors, palagi siyang, he would ask for someone to buy him a book from the States, and yung pinabili sa kanyang chief of staff before, all about agroponics, kasi yung plan daw niya, gagawin niyang parang full of plants yung mga park sa Manila. Tapos gusto niya, how do you give water to those plants na with less manpower? Yung nagre-research talaga siya. Tapos parang he has the bandwidth to talk about super technical things. And doon ako na-surprise and na-impress rin na wow, parang this guy really does his research, and I guess it doesn't strike, parang maybe it's wrong for us to think na just because nag-artista before na ganun lang siya. Hindi talaga, parang that in that sense, he will really prove you wrong.
I think next question.
Sige.
Yeah, okay. Next question from Lisian Fools. How do they avoid, or how do we avoid being emotionally attached to the candidate they're following, especially since they witness emotional moments? Para how does being assigned to a candidate affect or influence our own votes?
Madali lang naman, nabibwisit rin tayo sa kanila minsan eh. I mean, no, the longer you spend time with people, the more that, di ba, parang the closeness, whether it's not actual personal closeness, parang you get to see also yung mga, you get to feed each other sometimes, so.
No, siguro you can see through them. Yun na yun, di ba?
Yeah.
So parang pag may friend ka nga pag may mali siyang ginagawa, di ba? Like, di mo naman siya kakampihan or whatever.
Ay, minsan, oo. Medyo Oo. Di, saka, ang ko. Sige, go ahead.
Like, nung nag-switch to Lenny yung mga yung ibang supporters ni Isko, I mean, syempre as someone who's known that candidate for a while, and you know how much, like, every support means to him, nakakasad din yung mga ganun. Like, hindi mo maiwasan na parang, setback to, parang may mabigat na feeling. And
Yeah.
I guess parang it's part of when you're covering someone's journey, and parang, and you as a person, you can relate to that person and how it must feel for them to be back to a corner, or diba parang medyo may sense of betrayal. You can't help but empathize with them, right? So sa akin ganun. But does it affect our stories? No. I don't think na just
No.
because you feel emotion or you can relate to someone na automatically parang your story will be biased for them. I think meron namang mga set of standards yung journalist na, report both sides. May mga golden rules naman na we follow, na even if we're human too, we still make sure that our stories say every side.
Okay, next question. Are the candidates the same as the image they want to project? Siguro simulan natin kay Gyro.
Yeah, I think oo naman kasi like halimbawa sa campaign ni Calyodi, walang halong pretensions. Lalo I mean, mahirap talaga. Hindi naman siya mahirap kasi yun yung problema noong una, 'di ba? Parang nababash pa siya na parang may kaya naman daw pala si Calyodi. Maganda yung bahay niya, may corgi siya, 'di ba? Tapos parang ang ganda ng bahay nila, ang ganda ng interior, ang social nung nung Noche Buena nila sa Medya Noche. Parang, hello guys, parang nagsasabing mahirap si Calyodi. Hindi naman porket labor organizer, mahirap na. Ang project ng image in the first place ay pro Filipino, pro labor. So that doesn't mean na yun, ipapanggap siya and pretentious siya. With VP Lenny naman, I think same naman yung nanay image na pinoportray niya, same pa rin naman, and of campaign, gano'n naman talaga siya, gano'n siya magsalita. Yung kung paano, madidistinguish mo kasi yun kung may kaharap siyang supporters and wala. Lalo na kapag nag-FB live siya. Kasi yung mga days na nag-FB live siya, di ba? Minsan, wala lang, out of nothing, mag-FB live siya, kamustahin niya yung mga tao, mag-share siya ng mga ganap sa buhay niya. Tapos kung paano siya magsalita doon, ganun na siya magsalita and ganun niya rin i-address ng mga tao sa paligid niya. So, yeah, very natural naman sila.
Same with Isko, parang the person naman he projects to the public is the same persona. Pero siguro yung kay Isko lang, very apparent na iniiba niya yung demeanor niya depending on his audience. So, pag kaharap niya AB, mas nag-i-English siya at nakikita nga natin may bad grammar siya minsan. Nalaman naman niya na may bad grammar siya. Pag in front of CDE, talaga, very, using his street slang, nagtatagalog, malalim na Tagalog, yung mga medyo crass na jokes niya, sinasabi niya. So, but do I think this is some sort of pretension? I think hindi naman, because I think all candidates naman, even every person, right? When we talk to someone, medyo in-adjust natin yung ating attitude or yung personality natin depending on who we're talking to. So, but I think he's not naman lying about who he is. I don't think he's putting on a parang some sort of image that he sheds off cam. Kasi nakita namin pag wala na yung camera, for example, mag-ambush interview tapos na yung interview, ano pa rin parang hindi naman nagbago yung demeanor niya or ano pa rin siya, hindi naman siya parang umaalis sa side and hindi na kami pinapansin, hindi naman siya ganun. Si Marcos
Although
ba?
I
What
think
Marcos?
what we'll learn, I think the best test of yung true quote unquote na ugali ng isang politician or a candidate is when hindi na sila politician. Kasi I've come to learn na parang even if they feel comfortable around you because you're familiar to them, kasi your media that's covered them for years, parang merong wall yan. Kasi at the end of the day, your job is to report about them. And sometimes that demeanor changes when the person retires or is formally out of the public eye. So, yun yung interesting. Kung sino sila, kung hindi na sila kailangan mangampanya, ever.
Add ko rin dito sa true image. Actually, very philosophical to, no? Parang you don't really, even people, di ba? Sometimes, I don't remember the quote, pero parang I think there was this, when you ask someone, who are you really? Even they don't know who they are. I have to be alone to know who I am. Di ba yung mga ganong quotes sa books tayo nababasa. But in campaigns, I think the candidates show slivers of truth and who they are in moments of crisis. In moments of crisis, when things are falling apart, when things aren't going their way, dun mo nakikita nagkro-crumble yung image. How are you going to adjust a positive image kung iniwan ka ng partido mo? For Lacson, dun ko nakita nung iniwan siya ng reforma. Sinabi niya talaga, nasaktan ako. Kita sa kanyang mata, parang ganyan siguro itsura ni Senator Lacson kung talaga nasasaktan siya. I think meron din may raw moments din si Isko dito, Pia, di ba dun sa IM Pilipinas, may nakita akong ganun. Parang, that looks like what Isko is when vulnerable siya. And I think ganun din sa ibang kandidato.
Oh, yung yellow third comment niya, di ba, nung kay Lenny. I think that was a vulnerable moment for him.
Yeah.
Yun. Kay
Next
Senator
ba?
Pacquiao, kay Senator Pacquiao, same lang din naman na what you see is what you get. sa mga speeches niya, ganyan. Although syempre kapag may speech, sometimes parang naiiyak siya. Although question yun kung on cue ba yun or nafe-feel niya talaga. Although sinasabi naman niya na natitiri-eye daw talaga siya pag naiiyak siya. I mean, kapag natitiri-eye daw talaga siya kapag naalala niya yung times na mahirap siya. Although actually, surprisingly, yung ibang tao, hindi nila alam na mahirap pala si Senator Pacquiao before. Ngayon lang nila nalaman dahil sa campaign. So yun, genuine naman siya in terms of really wanting to help, and even others actually saw that. VP Lenny saw that. So yun, same lang.
Okay, so next question na tayo from justbeyourself_21. Ano ang ginagawa ng candidates at paano sila naghahanda bago sila magsalita sa harap ng mga tao? Naging big deal din yung paggamit ng teleprompter sa mga sortie at sinasabi na fake yung mga sinasabi nila. Oh, sino nagte-teleprompter sa sortie? Hindi ko alam yun.
I think
Sino
si
ba?
Lenny, sa mga really, really big ones.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
And then
Marcos Jr.
Yeah, si Uniteam also sa mga really, really big na sorties. And I hope people don't see this as shade, but there's really no need for a teleprompter for most of their sorties. Kasi nga stump speech sila all the time. It really doesn't change. It doesn't tweak. Depende sa local na issues or whatever. So there's no real need for that. But you'll see it from time to time sa mga sobrang malaking event nila. Actually, malaki nga, hindi nga maliit minsan. May teleprompter there somewhere.
Sa akin, so far kay VP Lenny, na-cover ko siya, Tarlac, Nueva Ecija, Kamanava, wala naman ako nakitang teleprompter. Siguro may mga instances lang talaga na nagte-teleprompter sila, and that doesn't mean na hindi sila magaling or fake yung sinasabi nila. Kasi teleprompter, most of the time, is there to guide yung sinasabi ng tao, and at the same time, for the organizers to limit the speech time, yung speaking time ng candidates, para organize din yung thoughts, saka tawag dito, grounded yung message dun sa idea na pinoportray. So, okay, sa akin, personally, hindi naman siya super big deal kasi wala lang, teleprompter din naman yun. At the same, saka at the end of the day, mahalaga pa rin naman yung kung ano yung kung yung platform nila, kung na ibibigay ba nila sa mga tao na ipapahayag din ng maayos. So kung walang platform tapos nagte-teleprompter, ewan ko na lang.
Si Isko never siya wala siyang teleprompter, anything like that. And wala siyang written down pag campaign speech. Pero nung kanyang launch of presidential bid sa Manila, mayroon lang siyang notes. Actually, parang pinicture pa kanya yung notes yung sinend niya. Na parang, parang bullet points and then handwritten. So obviously, like he had written it lang like a few hours siguro before, hindi niya pinaprint out or anything. Pero kasi si Isko, sanay na siya sa public speaking eh. Like, we know his showbiz career. So, I guess, part of that, nahasa na niya yung ganong kind of projection na he doesn't really need any parang written script or whatever.
Pero alam niyo, interesting din yan. I think talaga merong premium sa mga voters na ayaw nilang may script. I think it's an age of authenticity, of being raw. And
Right.
I guess magta-translate din ata yan sa kanilang campaign kung tatanggalin nila in the future. Pero kasi talagang, totoo naman, we can all agree na valid naman ang teleprompter. Pero kung botante ka, napakadaling ma-misinform na, ano ba yan, nandadaya siya? So hindi totoo yung kanya sinasabing mahal niya ako kasi nakasulat doon na mahal niya ako.
Yeah. But that's the
I think-
thing though, even impromptu speeches, pinag-usapan din, hindi naman siguro yan na gumising lang yung kandidato, tapos di ba parang, syempre magkakausapin din niya yung mga kasama niya na parang, sabihin, di ba parang hindi na magpapaalam, hindi na kailangan ng clearance, pero syempre mag-heads up ka man lang sa comms team mo, sa manager mo, especially if you plan to siguro change or tweak your messaging, syempre kailangan on board yung campaign team. So, it's not, I wouldn't impute insincerity right away to the use of prepared speeches or teleprompter. Tsaka kung pangulo ka naman, prepared naman yung mga speeches mo, except the incumbent one. But normally, president's speeches are prepared.
Saka add ko lang, may nag-comment yata, sabi, meron teleprompter sila, so feeling namin, hindi sincere kasi sarili mong kwento, hindi mo kabisado. I don't think gumagamit siya ng teleprompter that much kasi in fact, in every rally niya, yung mga speech niya, tinatranscribe pa yon ng team niya and then sinesend sa mga reporters covering her. So I don't think nagte-teleprompter siya kasi kung nagte-teleprompter siya, edi sana sinesend na lang yung copy ng speech in advance, diba? Just like yung Presidential Bureau na nagsisend ng copy ng speech ng presidente. So I don't think, teleprompter yon. Saka yun nga, sabi ni Bea, hindi naman porket nagte-teleprompter, hindi na sincere. Baka naman gusto lang ng organized ideas. Saka pinagmi-meetingan nila yung mga sinasabi na hindi naman pwedeng okay, bet kung humanash dito about pageantry and about agriculture, di ba? Yun lang.
Pero I think mahalaga yung binanggit ni Bea na for the past 6 years, we've been put in front of a president who does not follow the teleprompter. So parang na-prime din sila na, I'm not sure. I think that's a piece to be written. I think Pia, joke.
Naalala ko nga sa pag-campaign ni Duterte, the only intervention that his team would make is to tell his daughter, si Kitty, na pumunta sa stage, sabihin sa tatay niya, uy, stop, keep it short, or parang, uy, sabihin mo to, i-thank you mo si Mayor, ganyan. Yan lang. Hindi na makontrol si Duterte yung sasabi niya.
Parang kahit kahapon kay Duterte sa Buena Vista, one of the aides had to remind him to mention certain names ng senatorial candidates ata. Kasi off-tangent. So, baka yun din yung dahilan.
Benta yan sa mga voters.
Yung mga interruptions, no, na parang,
kailangan pa siya interrupt kasi ang sarap-sarap niya na parang napapasarap siya sa kwentuhan. Ganun.
Maybe that explains the fascination and obsession with teleprompters bigla in 2022. Kasi parang hindi naman yan issue noong 2016. Wala naman pakialam yung mga tao sa teleprompter. The next question, I think, very valid because I think it's a fact na when it's a presidential race, people tend to forget the senatorial race or not forget pero na-overlook natin kasi nga ang parang sinusundan natin yung standard bearers na mga lineups, di ba? So, not a question but I hope you produce TLDR content regarding senatorial candidates. I think the research team or our colleagues are working on this nga. Kasi admittedly yun nga, ang hirap talaga to keep track of the Senate bets kasi nga you have the presidential and vice presidential candidates. Which isn't to say tama yun kasi super important din ang Senate composition in the coming Congress. And the House as well.
Pero pitch ko na rin na Rappler Talk or na-interview ko lahat ng senatorial slate ni Isko Moreno except for si Secretary John Castriones. So check that out. Those are the
Sana
actual
all.
senatorial.
Sana
Hindi
all
isa sa lahat,
kinakausap ng
ano,
Senate
ano.
slate.
Okay. Next
Ano?
question from Aika. To be read by
Okay.
Aika.
This is from at Katifer. Security and bouncers, are they shouldered by the candidates? Shouldered meaning sila nagbabayad?
Yes. Yes, diba? Sila nagbabayad. Yun yung alam ko.
Anong gusto nila na
Parent approval
insight?
comment.
How, it depends. Kung government issued, yung sahod nun, kung police or tama 'di ba? Kung police or military, syempre may sahod siya from AFP, PNP.
Yes.
Pero kung gusto ng kandidato bigyan ng allowances,
Private.
extra, syempre pera niya na 'yun. Hindi yun private money na dapat nila 'yun. Yung is the
At
question
kung
like
ano,
where do they come
Go,
from?
go, go.
Yun ba yung
Ay, meron
tanong?
mo
Where
kasi-
do the security comes
Who
from?
pays for them? I think it's just who pays for their service.
Nakakatawin security and bouncers. Nasa party. Ganun.
Club.
Bar.
Nasa club
May
tayo.
maximum kasi yan eh. May maximum na i-assign ng police. Pero more than
Yeah.
that, and usually more than that, may sarili silang mga pinagkakatiwalaan na
May
Retired.
private.
private.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parang
In the case of Sara Duterte, obviously may PSG. Yun lang yung difference siguro sa amin. May,
Yeah.
sa campaign that we cover, there's always PSG because Sara Duterte. When Sara Duterte is there.
Aha. May next question na gusto nyo? Actually, easy question yung first one.
Okay.
This one is, how are the supporters? Do they feel safe going around, especially in a place of the close rival? I think they're trying to ask kung may sa bailiwick ng iba, ng kalaban. Do they feel safe? May threaten ba?
Siguro depende sa candidate. Kasi yung si Calio din, pag nag-house-to siya, nakakasalubong yung mga supporters ni VP Lenny, niyayakap pa siya, di ba? Tapos, in Iloilo, I think, may video pa yon na nagka-campaign si Walden and then si Leody, tapos chinir pa sila nung Robredo supporters. I think it depends on the candidate and the place of where they're campaigning for or campaigning, yeah. Depends.
Si Isko naman, may rules siya na anyone can campaign in Manila. So, I mean, Lenny has had a rally there, right? I think even in Tondo, where si Isko, parang dun siya, di ba? He grew up there. So, wala namang issue in terms of my candidate. I mean, the candidate I cover. So, I don't know about the rest. Like sa Ilocos Norte, issue ba yan?
Si Senator Pacquiao nga sa Ilocos, I mean, nagpunta siya ng Solid North. Sinabi pa niya na wala namang Solid North eh. Meron pa siyang pagkanoon. But I guess meron talaga rin namang small percentages in some areas na bailiwick ng iba na supporter kay Senator Pacquiao. And yun nga na-mention mo, Pia kanina na yung sa Tondo, nagpunta rin doon si Senator Pacquiao recently. And dami rin talagang tao. And I think parang, di naman sila bothered na area siya ni Manila Mayor Isko Moreno. But, you know, you're just there supporting Senator Pacquiao. Actually, medyo marami may numbers din.
Maganda yung next
Okay.
question, Pia.
Oh, next question. Direct message to Bea from Chino. Who do you think among the journalists has the most exhausting trail?
I think
Hands
Robredo
down.
campaign.
Robredo and,
I think
Robredo and Marcos.
Yun
Differently.
Pero kasi exhausting
okay, I get what you
yung kay
mean.
Lian. Exhausting
Yeah.
yung kay Lian kasi just because of the so much more effort you need to expend to get the same information from the media relations team, di ba? Parang mahirap na yung
Yeah.
campaign trail, tapos pinapahirapan pa yung mga reporters.
Hulaan mo kung saan ka pupunta
Yeah.
next. Okay.
Ay, totoo yun.
Okay.
Hindi yun
Di ba?
exaggeration.
Hulaan
May
portion.
ganun.
So, malaking pasalamat sa mga parallel Facebook groups at parallel social media accounts ng mga kandidato namin kasi doon namin nalalaman minsan yung schedule. So, yun.
Kabalik na naman for Mara. covering Robredo kasi kay VP Lenny, sa isang araw, parang 4-5 yung pupuntahan niya. Na iba't ibang place. For Tarlac, siguro mga 4 na bayan, differently. So yung mga times na nag-uusap-usap na rin yung reporters na skip na natin yung ganyang event kasi parang hindi tayo abot sa next event or nakakapagod, pahinga tayo saglit niya. So differently mahirap siya.
Ganun din kay Isko eh. Like, he would, hit like 3 towns, villages. Tapos you really have to skip one kasi magsusulat ka pa. Kasi mag-a-ambush si Isko sa umaga. So, di ba? Pero pupunta na siya sa motorcade. Tapos minsan, chopper pa. Tapos ikaw, land travel ka lang. So, 3 hours yun. Pero siya 15 minutes lang. So, yeah. Pero hands down talaga, Mare Orlean yung pinaka-exhausting campaign trail. Sige, next question.
Okay. DM na naman sa akin. This is from Nikki. Para sa akin pala yung tanong. What's the craziest thing you've seen in BBM rallies? I don't know what you mean by crazy. Pero siguro yung sobrang tumatak sa utak ko, yung recent na tinuhog ko yung Marawi sorties ni BBM tsaka ni Leni Robredo. Pero yung mas dumikit sa utak ko yung kay BBM because as you might already know by now, the Lanao del Sur incumbents endorsed him. Tas pero yung mas striking sa akin, may parang sa gymnasium ng Marawi, sa bleachers, may mga youth, Moro youth na may dala silang banner na parang iba-ibang banners actually, parang BBM Marcos pa rin, BBM forever. And it just struck me because knowing the history of the Bangsamoro of Muslim Mindanao under the martial law years. So parang ang striking lang nun to see na parang okay, this is what the sentiment of some youth are. And then the next day, nung si Leni Robredo, VP Leni naman nag-campaign sa Marawi, may malaking banner naman na inahanda yung mga supporters niya doon na I might pronounce this wrong. Maratbat. Parang Moro in basically in English, parang where is your dignity, where is your honor? Kasi malaking component yun ng Maranao culture, yung honor, yung pride. So yun na, parang yung contrasting images na yun, na parang this a campaign of supporters struggling to hold on to memories of ancestors, and then this one naman Marcos pa rin. So yes, yun.
Okay, next question. DM to ni Kiko kay Jairo. Ano ang eating habits ng candidates?
Oh my God, ang cute.
Actually,
So random.
Start ko na lang siguro. Kay Senator Pacquiao actually, kasi di ba parang siya, very athletic siya. Tapos ngayon,
top athlete siya eh.
Yes. Tapos, syempre ngayon, parang di na siya talaga masyadong nakaka-workout. Well, obviously kasi, anong oras ka na matatapos ng kampanya, may meeting ka pa, tapos anong oras ka gigising the following day. No? So, hindi na siya nakaka-workout. So, yung naalala ko talaga na very striking for me was, sometimes wala siyang choice but to eat rice. Kasi, kunwari may boodle
What a
fight.
struggle.
Kasi diba boodle fight? Tapos as in, parang gagano na siya. Tapos parang tinignan niya yung rice yung nakuha niya. Kinain niya na lang.
Oh my
Kasi siya
gosh,
malaki
kasi
yung
sanay siya
katawan.
sa healthy living.
Oo, so,
Kaloka.
Because I remember one kwento, although hindi ko to nakita sa campaign trail yet, I remember one kwento, parang apparently yung head of security niya, sometimes tinitingnan talaga siya sa side, tapos sinasabihan siya na, boss, tama na. Ibig sabihin, wag na daw siya kumain. Kasi nga, diba? Ganun. So yun, Senator.
Oh my God. Si Isko naman, he survives on coffee. Grabe yung coffee addict siya.
Oh man.
Tapos palagi siya may hawak na Starbucks. Tapos, syempre yung Starbucks na yun, palagi may message from the barista na, Yorme, salamat. Parang cute nga eh. Parang siguro he can collect all of those cups and like all of the messages. Pero sabi naman yung ng kanyang campaign managers, Lito Banayo, apparently, Isko and Duterte both never touch alcohol. Like, they don't drink wine, beer, or anything alcoholic. Pero si Isko daw can eat sinigang every day. So, ganun daw. Mahilig daw siya sa sinigang. Yun lang.
Ako, hindi ko pa kasi nakasabay kumain si Calio or somewhere. Pero I think, kumain naman siya ng regular food. Kasi VP Lenny, I think kumain siya sa fast
Anong
food, di
regular?
ba? Parang last time nga,
Ah,
medyo nag-viral yung post na kumain siya sa Army
As
Navy.
social
So,
media has
oo, di ba? Yeah. So, kumain siya ng normal food, pareho. Yun lang. May ambag ko.
okay.
Hindi
Mga
rin naman
Senator
ako
Tim, curious
sinabayan
ako,
ng...
Rambo.
Hindi ko
Yung
alam.
mga
natin.
senator kong mga senior citizens, lagi kami ang press con sa mga restaurants talaga. Lunch press con. Tapos
Lunch?
lunch press con lagi sila. At cafe, sa cafe nung nilaglag si Pin ng reforma, nasa cafe sila. Imagine, kumakain sa cafe. Tapos after big rallies, they would eat with reporters to speak with them.
Talaga. That's nice.
Yeah, sa Cebu, ang nagpakain naman ay si Senator Soto kahit pagkatapos ng kanyang rally sa Cebu. So interesting. Feeling ko kasi strict din yung kanilang diet, dapat malinis talaga for sure. Proper portions at mga senador medyo mas alta sila. Pero nakakain naman sila ng, of course, budol fight. Pero wala pa silang budol fight though, like Pacquiao.
Yung sa akin, di ko pa kasi nakakasabay kumain, pero my candidates have an obsession with burgers. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me where that came from. Even I cannot comprehend. But burger, that's a thing. Ewan ko.
Yeah. Karinderya ba yun? Charot na. Yun lang, yung next question natin ay from DM ni Rats to me. Sino kaya to? Char.
Susero
What
ka.
happens if you need to drink or go to the bathroom? Do you just make tiis daw?
Indeed. We make teas.
Yes talaga.
Lalo na pag nasa motorcade ka.
Oh.
Di ba?
The thing is for campaign din, for coverage, the first thing that you do, you should find out where the bathroom is. Di ba? Once
Same.
yung i-scout mo, wala pang tao,
Same
nasaan ang banyo para if ever kailangan ko bumanyo, doon siya. Tapos the next thing is your best friend is your production specialist, yung mga kakilala mo. Pwedeng bantayan yung gamit mo kasi posisyon mo yun eh. Babalikan mo siya kung iihi ka man. Pero may mga moments talaga na shit. Talagang shit ako. The build-up is so good. I can't miss this moment. May mga ganong moments, di ba? Kaya yun yung mga moments na talagang titiis ako for the history too. Iihi ka habang nagsasalita yung kandidato mo na napakaganda, di ba? May ganon moments. Pero yun, usual coverage yan eh. Talagang parang sa Nazareno, big rallies, you establish.
Yeah.
It's the same. Kung may addition kayo. Pero yun yung routine natin ang alam ko.
And then sometimes this is very unhealthy, but we're too dehydrated to think of peeing. Kasi syempre, ititipid mo rin yung bawon mong tubig, tas minimize mo yung baba ng mask mo. So parang hindi ka rin ganun it's really bad for you. But yeah, we're not always well hydrated.
May experience na, di ba, nalilipasan ng gutom. Minsan naman meron nalilipasan ng, alam mo na, parang you just forget suddenly in the moment na, ay, never na ako na, mas may ako. Kasi diba, parang, I'm so in the moment. Like, ewan ko kung psychosomatic thing, whatever, but
feeling ko, nag-a-adjust yung bladder natin.
May superpower
yung bladder na mismo, Bes. Sabi ng bladder ay, wala. I guess ako mag-a-adjust in this moment. Ganon. Ay, saka best friend mo rin yung driver. Yung driver mo, whether the driver is from Rappler or hired na driver, kuya, maghanap tayo ng banyo. Wala akong pakialam kung malinis or hindi.
Saan?
Basta kailangan natin ng banyo right away. Ganon.
Ako naman, hinahanap ko agad yung banyo. Tapos kapag nararamdaman mo na the nature will call, I mean, few hours talaga, rule ko yan, dapat 2 hours before nandun ako sa venue para na-navigate ko na siya. Tapos yung prospects ko, kasi lalaki naman ako kahit paano. So, best friend namin, kapag may mga coverage talaga na hindi ka talaga makakaalis sa lugar mo, pero nandun yung kotse mo. So, best friend mo yung malaking bandana. Lagi ako nagdadala ng scarf, saka ng bote. So, bahala na kayo mag-isip. That's it.
Oh my gosh, male privilege. Wala pa nga sa usapan na yun
Mas
kung
mahirap.
paano kung what if you're on your period? Ano yung sagot?
Yeah.
Ako tinitiis ko na lang.
It's harder for the girls.
Magbaon.
Tiis.
Okay, last question from Eunice
Wow.
San Miguel. DM rin to Aika, I think. Curious ako on how they are planning to achieve yung goals nila. One thing yung sabihin mo, ano plan mo, it's another thing na pakita mo how you will do it. So parang how far candidates go in thinking of their administration, like how detailed, ganun, kahit nangangampanya pa rin sila. Well, for Isko, meron na siyang, kilala niya yung mga appointees niya. Kilala niya yung sinong lalagay niya sa financial, sinong economic managers niya. Ganun.
Ako yung sagot ko dyan kay Senator Pacquiao. Di ba yung platform niya masyadong maraming freebies? At least meron siyang sinasabi na plano niyang gawin. Well, aside from yung mga corruption stuff, no? Kasi we're not sure yet kung paano yung magpapan out. Pero meron siyang mga ideas on how to revitalize yung economy. Actually, paulit-ulit niya itong sinasabi sa mga speeches niya, yung tungkol sa gross domestic product. Minsan magulat ka lang, sabi niya, meron kasi yan, apat yung components daw ng gross domestic product. So, i-explain niya yun talaga sa'yo. Pati yung, basta yun, yung mga gusto niyang gawin to make the economy grow, pati yung mga taxes, sinasabi niya rin yan. Although, syempre, alam naman natin na legislative action yung kailangan dyan. But at least he knows what he wants to implement para lang mabigay yung mga freebies na pinapangako niya sa platform niya. I guess, siguro yun yung how he thinks he would implement yung mga programs na.
One way to answer this question, hindi naman sa parang pinanganak lang kahapon yung ating kandidato, di ba, na blank slate sila. This is the reason why we keep track of their career history. Ano bang ginawa nila? Kung meron silang promise noon, Isko, kita mo sa Maynila. Kaya lagi nilang binabanggit ng Maynila. Tito Soto, ganito kami sa Senado. Lacson, ganito kami sa Senado. Tingnan niyo yung track record. Kaya mahalaga talagang tingnan ang track record. Big promises kasi yung details, kaya nila yung ma-work out. Pero yung kung meron silang setbacks, makikita mo yan sa kanilang track record. Meron din mga politiko like Marcos Jr. na wala naman masyadong ginawa, di ba? Absentee governor. So how are you going to expect him to do more if ever maging president siya, di ba? Mahalaga talaga yung track record. Paano kung hindi niya nagawa sa kanyang lugar, paano niya pa magagawa sa bansa, di ba? Kaya, masasagot mo yan sa bawat platform kung titingnan mo yung anong ginawa nila dati. And madaling mag-google yan.
And to add to the survey frontrunner, by the way, naglabas sila ng ads sorry. I'm referring only to Marcos Jr. He did release ads na parang platform. But it's not really, honestly, it's not so much a platform as it is like slogans for sectors or for like the economy. Kunwari, meron siyang jabs to jobs. So, immunity, parang vaccines to job creation. But honestly, Sara Duterte has been talking about that. Parang bago pa man mag-expound si Marcos Jr. sa sa platform niya or sa mga proposals niya. Parang si Sara Duterte na una pa nga ata doon, emphasizing the importance of immunization, whatever. But ito Convos nga, parang this isn't expressed so much by the Marcos campaign kasi parang very laser pointed sila dun sa unity, positive, whatever campaigning. Pero I'm sure behind the scenes, they're already taking in applications for various posts, not just cabinet. I'm sure ang dami nang nakapila niyan. Ng mga unfortunately, they're kind of opaque. They're quite opaque about it. So at least we don't know in Rappler.
Sa kay VP Lenny and Calyodi, yung similarity nila na may Venn diagram, tapos nasa gitna nilang dalawa, consultative silang pareho. Yun yung approach nila, especially VP Lenny. I mean, pag yung mga sector na gusto niyang tutukan, nanghihingi siya ng consultation. For example, yung pag-endorse sa kanya ng retired PNP and constabulary officers, nag-conduct siya ng consultation with them, anong dapat gawin sa reformation sa police, anong mga internal security projects na dapat i-implement for the internal security. And for Calyodi naman, sobrang comprehensive ng platforms nila. And lahat yun, nag-undergo ng consultation with their experts, especially si Professor Walden, kasi he's really he has really a great mind. So, talagang pinag-aralan nila talaga yung mga platform nila na hindi nila kinuha lang somewhere for the sake na magkaroon.
In fairness kay Isko, mayroon naman siyang 10-point agenda talaga. And that entire document was based on consultations with economists, with agriculture experts, even with mga foreign policy experts like si Senior Associate Justice, Retired Justice Scorpio. So I would really say that he also is also quite consultative and really planned that platform like to the detail, to the dot, as in very, very detailed. May figures talaga like how many nurses they want to give scholarships to. So very, very specific. At siguro one thing that I can say about Isko, kasi may times na he's very glib with his answers. Like gusto mo ng specific pero bibigyan ka ng general. So, minsan I try to push some of the more important questions like, what will you do about the 12 trillion debt that you will inherit? Tapos, may time na I really, parang hindi ako nasatisfy sa answer niya. Sobrang general. So, talagang I'm like, give me something concrete. Parang, what will you do? Parang, give me something I can like hold on to. Tapos, na-surprise ako. Parang, ito this is too early, but ito yung iniisip ko. Ibebenta daw niya yung NAIA, or basta parang he will, sell it to the private sector pag na-develop yung Bulacan Airport, kasi diba, there will be too many airports na in Metro Manila, so one of them can be converted into a sort of BGC hub daw. And yun, pagkikitaan ng government, it will earn, meron siyang figure of how much that development will earn the government, and billions or trillions ba, may nakalimutan ko na. But yun, parang, isip ko, wow, he must have spent like a car ride thinking of this, and probably Googling parang what to do about these underperforming assets, etc. So, yun, parang I think he is really thinking about it, and I guess it's something good that if you're thinking about it na ganun ka-detailed, right? So, okay, so,
And he's
back to our
consulting the
lyric.
right people. Sorry.
I hope so. Yeah, mukha naman, I mean, these are people naman who we know, like these names that the consultants he had. Okay. All right. So far, we've finished reading your questions. I think meron din sa comments pero kasi sobrang dami ng comments, maybe next time we can try to answer those in the comment section. But yun, we really hope na nasagot namin yung mga tanong, and kahit pa paano yung mga sagot namin makatulong sa inyo when you enter Holy Week, and try to think of who you will vote for. Kung undecided pa kayo, baka ito yung time that you can really use to look through all of the news articles and analysis pieces that different media outlets have put out there to help you really come up with a good decision on May 9. So, maraming salamat for joining us tonight. Once again, we're your campaign reporters and Rappler, and we will continue to monitor the campaign for you and give you blow-by-blow reporting on this. So, again, thank you so much, and good night.